gospel lacks a little bit of context. I mean, obviously, this took place after the martyrdom of St. John the Baptist, but Herod was becoming more and more inquisitive because, he was hearing what was going on with Jesus. He was hearing about his teaching, his preaching, miracles, and things like that. Remember, it wasn't that big of an area, and word did spread. And it's kind of interesting because what we see here is that Herod wants to have some kind of encounter with Christ. It's more out of curiosity. And we know even when it comes time for Jesus' suffering and death, he's brought before Herod. Herod just wanted to see him. And I believe in Herod, we see a character who really represents something we all hold in common in humanity, don't we? We all want to encounter, we all want to experience God. Now, maybe we aren't always good at putting it in those words, but there's that yearning, that wanting for something a little bit more. Augustine, I think, put it best when he prayed, "Our hearts are restless till we rest in thee, O Lord." So Herod, you can always imagine here that his conscience already has been pricked because he was responsible for the martyrdom of John the Baptist. Now he hears this other person, and in some sense it fulfills the prophecy of John when he says, "He must increase, I must decrease." Herod's attention goes away from John, whom he had killed. Now it's going towards Jesus. Here's the problem with Herod, though. He never got to a point of belief. He had the inquisitiveness, he had the curiosity, but he never had the faith. You see, in our own hearts and our own longings, the things we have to remember is something we all hold in common as human beings, is we all have that longing. There's always that inquisitiveness. We put different questions to it. Sometimes it's, what's the meaning of life, or what's my purpose, or, why am I here? We tend to be a little bit me-focused when we ask those questions, even in the God questions, like, what's this all have to do with me? Ultimately, Jesus tells us, as we prayed before the gospel, when we're looking for the way to get to where we need to get, when we're looking for truth, when we're looking for the meaning of life, how does Jesus answer? I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. Very subtly put, whatever the question is that we're grappling with in life, in some way, shape, or form, the ultimate answer lies in Jesus. Now that means we have to do a little work of having our hearts opened, our minds opened, our ears opened, to be able to discern, to be able to hear, to be able to encounter the Lord. Maybe just one little exercise we can do is probably one of the most precious moments we have liturgically is after we receive Holy Communion. We have that time to just kind of reflect and meditate while the priest is clearing the altar and purifying the vessels and everything's finishing up. That's like some precious time that we can have. Just really recognize that we've had the encounter. And at that point, to maybe pour out the questions, the yearnings, the curiosities that we have in life, to give ourselves over in an act of faith for wherever it is that God takes us this day, or whatever day it may be. Herod sets a good model for us in asking the question. Jesus puts the answer right before us, and ultimately, it's a relationship with him. Amen? We turn to the